Voices got louder, people marched, not with weapons, but with courage. In East Germany, demonstrations filled the streets. Citizens demanded the right to travel, to speak, to live freely. Then came a moment no one expected. Narrator, November 9, 1989, a government official made an announcement. Travel restrictions would be eased, but confusion followed. The message spread quickly, borders are open. Narrator, intensifying, crowds gathered at checkpoints. At the wall, thousands. Then tens of thousands. Narrator, fast-paced. They pushed forward, demanding to cross. The guards stood there, unsure, no clear orders. Narrator, release. And then they stepped aside, the gates opened, people crossed from east to west, from separation to reunion, families embraced, tears flowed, laughter filled the air, strangers hugged, climbed the wall, danced on it, and then they began to break it. Narrator, powerful, with hammers, with hands, with hope, piece by piece, the wall came down. Narrator, reflective, not by force of armies, but by the will of the people. The Berlin Wall had fallen, a symbol of division destroyed, a symbol of freedom reborn. Soon after, Germany was reunited, East and West became one again. And beyond Germany, the Cold War itself began to end. Narrator, thoughtful, the fall of the wall was more than a political event. It was a human moment, a reminder that no barrier, no matter how strong, can stand forever against the desire for freedom. It showed the world that change is possible, that unity can rise from division. Event 10. The Digital Revolution. This expansion dives deep into the decade-long segment of the digital revolution, exploring the shift from the silicon chips of the mid-20th century to the hyper-connected, AI-driven reality of 2026. The Silicon Genesis. Building the infinite library, the digital revolution did not begin with a click or a swipe. It began with a fundamental shift in how human beings perceive information. Before the 1970s, knowledge was physical, bound in paper, stored in heavy cabinets, and restricted by geography. The revolution sought to dematerialize the world. The architect's vision, Apple and Microsoft in the late 1970s and early 80s, two distinct philosophies emerged that would dictate the next 50 years of human history. On one side was Microsoft, led by Bill Gates and Paul Allen. Their goal was utility through ubiquity. By creating an operating system, Windows, that could run on any hardware, they turned the computer into a standard household appliance, much like the toaster or the television. On the other side was Apple Inc., driven by the exacting vision of Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak. Apple didn't just want to build a tool, they wanted to build an experience. The Macintosh introduced the graphical user interface, GUI, replacing intimidating lines of code with friendly icons and a mouse. This was the democratization of power. Suddenly, you didn't need to be a scientist to harness the power of a microchip. The great unbinding. The rise of the internet. If the PC was the engine, the internet was the fuel. In the 1990s, the information superhighway transitioned from a military and academic experiment, ARPANET, into a global public square. The invention of the World Wide Web by Tim Berners-Lee was the most significant act of unbinding in history. Information was no longer somewhere else. It was everywhere. This era birthed the giants of the second wave: Google, reorganizing the world's information so it was searchable in milliseconds; Amazon, moving the marketplace from the town square to the browser window; Facebook, digitizing the social fabric itself; the pocket revolution; smartphones, and the end of boredom. The year 2007 marked a definitive before and after in human evolution with the launch of the iPhone. This wasn't just a phone, it was a GPS, a high-end camera, a music library, and a portal to the sum of human knowledge, all tucked into a pocket. The smartphone changed the literal biology of our attention. We moved from a world of focused sessions at a desk to a state of continuous partial attention. We no longer waited for the news pursued us. The app economy fundamentally restructured labor, giving rise to the gig economy where algorithms replaced managers. The mirror age, the paradox of connection. As the narrator notes, we are more connected than ever, yet more divided than ever. This is the great paradox of the digital revolution. The algorithmic echo chamber social media platforms were designed to keep us engaged. To do this, they used algorithms, mathematical formulas that learned our preferences. However, these algorithms inadvertently created echo chambers. By showing us only what we liked, they shielded us from the other, leading to radicalization. Extreme views were rewarded with more engagement. The death of nuance. Complex issues were boiled down to 280 characters or 15-second videos. Digital loneliness. Despite having 5,000 friends, the lack of physical presence led to a global spike in anxiety and isolation. The final frontier. Artificial intelligence, as we enter the current era, 2020-2026, the revolution has moved from storing information to generating it. Artificial intelligence represents the shift from computers as calculators to computers as creators. LLM breakout large language models, LLMs, and generative AI have breached the final bastion of human exclusivity, creativity, and reasoning. We are now in a world where AI assists in surgery, writes code, composes music, and predicts protein folding for new medicines. The existential question, the revolution now faces its most daunting challenge. As AI becomes more autonomous, the line between human-made and machine-made blurs. We are forced to ask, what is the value of human labor in an automated world? How do we verify truth in an age of deepfakes? Can a digital mind ever truly understand? Or is it simply a very sophisticated mirror? Conclusion: the horizon of 2000, the digital revolution is not a destination. It is a permanent state of acceleration. In the final minutes of this event, we see a world that is vibrating with data. We have bridged the gap between the physical and the virtual. We have gained the world at our fingertips, but we are still learning how to keep our souls in the process. As the clock ticks toward the next era, the revolution remains unfinished. We are the architects of a digital Tower of Babel. Whether it unites us or collapses under the weight of its own complexity is the story of the next century. If you enjoyed this journey through history, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, because history is never truly in the past.